Thank you very much. Hi, Marilyn from NYSERDA. I work with the Codes, Products, and Standards team, and one of the things that Kara didn't really get into, but we talked about all the goals that are in the legislation. One of those is energy efficiency savings of 185 tera-BTUs by 2025. And with buildings using 40%, emitting 40% of the greenhouse gas emissions that we have across the state, you can see why energy codes are a really important factor and a really important option for us to look at and move forward. One of the reasons, well, first of all, what is a stretch energy code? It's simply a code that is more efficient than what New York State is going to be adopting in May of this year. And if we continue on a business as usual path, which is this very, the light blue line or dark blue line on the far right of the screen there, we're not going to be able to get to that zero net energy presumed point that we need to get to in order to have this carbon neutral economy that we keep looking for. Whereas the stretch code, the yellow dots that are behind me, if we achieve 10% savings over what the state adopts every code cycle, which is about every 3 years, we reduce that gap and we have a much better opportunity to achieve the net zero and carbon neutrality that we're trying to get to. The stretch energy code, it's readily adoptable. It's written in code language, just like the New York State code is. We have resolution language to help municipalities adopt this code, and it becomes a really pivotal tool for municipalities to use to reach their energy and climate goals. One of the things I've been hearing across the state as I've been doing outreach is that it's becoming a part of their revisions of their comprehensive plans. And I think that's a really great opportunity for any community that's in here looking to revise their climate action plans to consider adopting New York Stretch. Right now, what's beautiful about it is that it's really using just standard technologies and construction techniques. It's not using anything out of way out there. It's really something that's viable to any developer, architect, or engineer right now. Am I going fast?
No, you're fine.
Okay, fine. So as far as community interest, obviously the big hit for us was to have New York City adopt New York Stretch as its next energy code. It's going to be going into effect in May. They did make some New York City-centric amendments. Ithaca is using it as part of their green building code. They want to be a carbon neutral community by 2030. And then thankfully we've had a lot of interest in Westchester County, and we've asked a lot of those people to come today so that they can get this information, and then we're going to be staying after the session today to meet with anybody who's interested. My partner in crime, Mike DeWine, is my New York Stretch Outreach Circuit Rider. He works with the Clean Energy Community Coordinators and will be available for meetings, for any sort of discussions with your sustainability committees, your town boards, city boards, et cetera, and we can come and make those presentations for you. Why should you adopt it? We've heard it all. I think the supervisor said it perfectly. If you save energy, you save money. I mean, that seems pretty simple. And the other thing to consider, these buildings are going to be around for 50 to 100 years. We need to build them smarter now. And the best way to do that is to have a better energy code and move forward as these things go along. We're going to use less energy, reduce the operating costs, and really work to achieve the greenhouse gas reduction goals. The other thing to keep in mind, energy codes are just going to get more strict. We're already in the process of pulling together an advisory committee for our next stretch energy code that's going to build off of the national model codes that all of our energy codes are based off of. This is a progression. So get the code officials, get the community, get your builders and developers used to the idea that they're going to have to incorporate geothermal. They're going to have to think about heat pumps. They're going to have to be moving forward with this because it is going to become more of a standard as we move along. Just really quickly, because I don't have a lot of time, but just to understand the economics here, Westchester is in Climate Zone 4A. When we did our cost-benefit analyses, we used prescriptive requirements. We used 9 prototype building models, commercial-built prototype building models. Everything's going to vary based on. Okay, I'll go quick. So anyway, this simple payback looks kind of off-putting, but this doesn't include any incentives that might be available from Con Edison or from NYSERDA, so that simple payback comes down. With the residential side, we looked at single family and multifamily, aggregated the results of both foundation types and fuel types. So you come to around an 8-year simple payback, again before incentives, for a single-family home, low-rise multifamily, around 9 years. Just to have a quick example of why thinking about the heat pumps, electric heat pumps, is a really great idea. When we looked at the cost benefit for a gas furnace and electric AC for a new construction home in this climate zone, simple payback was around 11 years, but if they consider an electric heat pump, that simple payback goes down to 5. So really some great opportunities for you there. The requirements are standard. Like I said, it's improving the building envelope, better window performance, better insulation, mandatory ventilations. I'm getting a little too technical, but these different things. One thing to be aware of that's not in the state code is the compatibility for renewable generation and for electric vehicle readiness. It's simpler to put it in when you're doing with new construction as it is than it is to put it in a retrofit. Looks at commercial kitchens, and the other thing not to forget is that the Energy Code does have optional appendices that a community can adopt that would require solar installation for new construction. That's a standard that's always been there, but I just want to make sure that people are aware of that not only does stretch require the electric vehicle and renewable readiness, but PV could be an option as part of their codes. We have information. I have sample resolution documents and frequently asked questions. If you're interested, we'll be around, Mike and I, after the session to talk to anybody who might be willing to consider this. We're doing training. We are updating the ResCheck and ComCheck tools that code officials and builders and developers typically use, and a lot of other information going on. So thank you very much.